Hey guys, this is VSG Brett, and it is Thursday, August 18th, 2016, and it is 4 o'clock in the evening, and I have to get this video done really quick because my husband and daughter want to come back downstairs. And I kind of have them locked upstairs right now so I can get this video done really quick. So what is this video I'm coming at you on a weird day in the middle of the week for? It is the rules post-op WLS tag that Drea VSG so kindly tagged me in, and I have decided this is a perfect day. I am off, I'm not doing anything, and I wanted to get it done really quick for you guys. So I want to put a little disclaimer in there and just say this is what works for me. This is this is what my team had provided for me. I tweaked it to fit my needs, as you will find yourself doing if you are going through this weight loss surgery process. As you will get a guideline to follow, and you will tweak it as you go. My doctor and nutritionists emphasize that this is a guideline and not hard and fast rules, and I definitely see it that way because as my restriction changes from day to day, as my Aunt Flo comes in from week to month and things like that, these things change for me. And as I progress through my weight loss journey, my weight loss surgery journey, my calories go up and my different needs go up. So like right now I'm increasing my fats and reducing my proteins, and you know, trying to work on things that maybe fit me a little better, give me more energy, make me lose more weight, you know, do what I do. Find a good, comfortable place to be in. So things change. This is just works for me right now. And so, you know, please don't take this as me harping on what you do or telling you this is what you need to do. This is just what I have found works for me, and also what has been established by my doctors. So all that being said, let's get right into this paper here, okay? So, first section is protein. Let's dive right into there. Okay, what are my rules and targets around protein? I have my protein in my FitnessPal set to 40%, which is 95 grams a day for me, and that's 950 calories. So, yeah, that's what I have it set. I like to get 90 to 100 grams of protein in. So that's what I shoot for, and I generally hit that. I don't usually have an issue hitting my protein goals. Excuse me, little fruit fly. What was given to me by my team? My team told me, I should say, sorry, my team told me 70 to 80 grams a day minimum. So they like it in the 90s and the hundreds. That's where they want it to be. They're perfectly fine. When I told them I was getting 90 to 100, they were great with that. So that is where I want to be. That's where I need to be. Let's see. Shakes and bars. Do I use shakes and bars? I don't use bars because I like to eat. I like to eat food, and bars are just don't do it for me. They just don't do it for me. Now I have tried bars, and there are some I like out there. Quest bars I'm not a fan of. They're just too thick for me to enjoy, and they taste too proteiny. But I do like the Fit Crunch bars, the wafer thin crunchy ones. I think those are good, but they don't fill me up. So then I'm eating this like half of this bar, which isn't enough. That's pretty high in calories, pretty high in carbs, and not very good in protein, really, for a protein bar. And I'm still hungry. So to me, it's like a waste of space. On top of the fact that I do tend to get sick when I eat too much sweet stuff. So if I eat a whole bar or I eat half a bar, I tend to get like gut rot. Like my tummy starts to turn because it doesn't like it. So I don't tend to eat them too frequently. I would rather eat a big full meal than eat a protein bar, which is like being, if not more calories, the same calories as that big meal. So that's where I am with bars. Shakes, however, I am quite opposite on shakes. I drink a lot of protein shakes. I have a very tight sleeve. I get about 2.5 to 3.5 ounces of food depending on the week, and I find that unless I have protein shakes, I'm not getting protein in. Even if I eat protein all day long, I may hit 40 to 60 grams of protein. So in order for me to get up to 90, I need to use supplements. My doctor's office is okay with that. My nutritionists are okay with that. They're perfectly fine as long as I'm getting it in, and I am, so I'm perfectly fine with that as well. I usually use 1 to 2 protein shakes a day, depending on how much protein I got in that day. I get Premier Protein, a 4-pack, and I drink that throughout the week, so I drink 4 a week, usually. And then I get a tub of protein powder. I change it up every month. I get a different kind. Right now I'm on something called ISO, I think it's ISO 100, and it's Orange Dreamsicle. So a scoop of that in some unflavored almond milk or water or milk or whatever, you know, whatever I choose that day, depends. And I'm good I'm good to go. So that's what I do, and that's how I get my protein in, and it works well so far. So I'm not complaining about that. Protein to carb ratio, I don't really care about protein to carb ratio. I care more about my carbs being below 10. And if as low as I possibly can get them. Like, I'm not going to pick something that's like, oh, this is under 10, okay, and never not look anymore. I will continue to look until I find the lowest one possible. And if it's too carby, I tend not to use it. So I tend to skip on it because I like to save my carbs for good things, not like ketchup or fucking cocktail sauce or things like that. So I like to use my carbs for chocolate and cookies and things like that. So I don't waste it. I don't waste my carbs on things. So I will go as low as I possibly can on things like beef jerky and things like that. If it has like, if it's beef jerky and has more than 4 or 5 carbs, I won't buy it. So yeah, I'm picky as far as my carbs are concerned. And yeah, anyways. So my protein though, like I said, as long as my daily total gets to 90, I don't care if it has protein or not. I will eat things without protein in it. I'm okay with that. That's not an issue for me. I do tend to move towards things that have protein. Like if it has protein, that's an added bonus for me because I'm like, ooh, I can get more protein in. But I will eat things that don't have it. I'm okay with that too. That's what the protein shakes are for, because I can eat nothing but protein and possibly get maybe 60 ounces of protein in a day, which is like nothing. Or 60 grams, sorry, 60 grams, not ounces. But in order to hit that good amount, that 90 amount, the amount that gets me energy and gives me a boost when I'm exercising and things like that, in order to get that amount, I need to use supplements. And I'm also not going to eat constant protein all day long. Variety is the spice of life. I like to try new things. I also like my snacks, and not all of them have insane amounts of protein. So in order for me to be able to eat vegetables and fruits sometimes, and crack like those little crispy puffy thingies, the pea puffs. In order for me to eat those things, I have to supplement. So that's the way it is. Water. Okay, 6 minutes. Water. What are my water targets? 64 ounces to 80 ounces is my water range. I try not to get below 64, and I try to hit 64. Last week I didn't make it, but most of the time I'm pretty spot on with 64 ounces of water. Sometimes I'll hit 80, but it's very rare. No matter what though, 64, I'm always on that. My team said 64. They didn't require anything more than that. They just said 64 ounces and you're good. So that's where I'm going. As far as how I structure my water throughout the day, because I work third shift, my day is kind of messed up. You know, I've told you guys, and I don't sleep in one chunk. So getting water throughout the day is actually hard because I'll sleep, eat. Not much time in between for water, and I don't count the water I drink while I work out. So I'll drink a 20-ounce bottle of water while I work out, and I don't really count that. So I have to get my water in when I'm at work. So when I go to work, I don't eat. I only take protein shakes and water with me to work. Very rarely do I eat. Like I'll eat if I work a 12-hour shift, and I'll eat at the very beginning of my shift. But the rest of the shift, from like 8 hours on, I will not eat anything solid, so I can get the water in that I need. So sometimes I'm drinking 64 ounces of water at work. Sometimes I'm usually able to get at least 20 ounces throughout the day of water, but then at work I'm really chugging it, which is another reason why I don't like to eat at work, because I need to get the water in. And that's how I manage it. As far as like a rule I set for water and stuff like that, there's 2 particular ones I am very picky about. One of them is when I get home from work at 8 in the morning, that is 0. I'm at 0 water. I'm at 0 ounces of water, and that runs all the way through the night, up until I get home at my door. So sometimes if I have a bad water day, I will chug water while I'm driving home from work. And as soon as I walk in the door, it doesn't matter if I chug 12 ounces on my way home. The water's at 0 once I walk in the door. And that's how I get my water in each day. So I will drink 12 ounces in the car, step inside and have a cup of coffee, and they will be completely separate days, even though it's only a couple minutes apart. That's how I have to work it. I have to have a separation at some point, and that's how I mentally do it. It just seems to work for me. I separate workout from my day. And that's always just how I've managed to do, like, eating and scheduling my eating and all those things. So my body may work a different way, it might process things a different way, but as far as my mental, like how I work things out for tracking and things, purposes like that, that's how I have to keep it straight. So that's one hard and fast rule. The second one on water is that if I find I'm having a bad day, I have to hold on to my water bottle and never let it go, basically. So I will hold it with the cap open, make sure the cap's open, and I will never let it go. I will drive, and I will hold my water bottle. And I do find that I don't like doing that. I really want to put the bottle down, and I will put the bottle down. I kind of have to mentally slap myself and pick up the bottle again and keep it in my hand. it's like I have to stay conscious of the water bottle all the time to get it in. And I find that that works really well. If I'm able to keep it in my hand, if I'm sitting on the couch and holding it, and sitting in the car and holding it, sitting at work and holding it, I get it in. But the minute I set it down is when I start losing interest. I forget about it. I don't get the water in. So one of the things I do, especially on bad days, is I will hold the bottle and never let it go, basically. Another thing I do is I do the 2 big bottles, because for some reason in my head, 2 big bottles is way less daunting than 8 little ones. I don't know what the deal is, but that's just how my mind works. Vitamins, what the team set up for me and what I take is pretty much the same, so I'm just going to do it in one fell swoop. I take a multivitamin. I take a calcium citrate D3 patch that I take in the morning because it interferes with my thyroid pill, so I like it separate. So yeah, I take that. I take a biotin for my hair. I take a B12. And I also take a chlorophyll. Triple chlorophyll is what I take. It's a little green pill. I use it for like body odor issues I had right after surgery. I was noticing I would work out and I would just I would use prescription strength. I had to go buy prescription strength deodorant because it was getting so bad. And the prescription strength deodorant wasn't doing enough. So I started taking this triple chlorophyll, and it has completely eliminated that problem. I'm back to normal deodorant. Some days, if I forget my deodorant and I go for a run, I still don't smell. So this stuff is working well for me. If you decide to take it, side effect is green poop. Just FYI. I haven't had any other issues with it, but it does make your poop green. So just warning you. But otherwise, my vitamins are on point. The only issue I had before I bought the patches was calcium. And now that I'm taking these patches, I don't even worry about it. I put the patch on as soon as I get home from work. I take it off when I get home from work. It's only effective for, I think, 8 hours or something like that. 8, 10, 12, somewhere in that range. But I will, if I take it off and like have a span of time in between where it's off and when I put it on, I'll forget it. So I just keep it on all the time and then peel it off. It's just how I keep track. It's not effective after 12 hours or something like that. You're just basically have a sticker on wherever you put it. But I have to do that, otherwise I'll forget. So, and that seems to be working for me so well. As far as my blood work and checking to see how my levels are, I have my first vitamin check next week on the 30th for my 6-month post-op appointment. I will be going into my physician in Chicago, and he will be checking my blood levels, and I will find out how my vitamin levels are doing. And I'm really hoping and praying that my iron's okay, because I really don't want to deal with it. I'm probably just going to get an iron patch if that's the case, because from what I have heard from other people, it does not sound like it's very fun. And I don't want to. I don't want to. So, go there. Okay, so my rules for exercise. My team set up this ridiculous thing. It says that you need to exercise 60 minutes every day for the rest of your life. On that. 30 minutes at least to maintain your weight, and 60 to 90 is required for weight loss. And it says, don't worry, you can do 10-minute intervals of 60 to 90 minutes every day. It's okay. 9 times a day. Are you kidding? So, they recommend 30 minutes of aerobic exercise, and of course, they jogging, running, all that stuff. And then they suggest doing some resistance training or lifting weights at least 2 times a week, if not more than that. So yeah, that's what they suggest. Now they suggest no breaks. You every day. You're on that shit every day. Okay, I don't do that. I'm not that harsh on myself, man. I couldn't do that. I would get burned out so fast if I did that shit, man. So what I do is I do aerobic stuff 5 times a week. I bike 13 miles. I will run my C to 5K when I'm on week 6 or 7 or something like that. I'm almost done with C to 5K. I'm actually pretty proud of myself. I'm doing very well. So I run and walk. And my walking is usually between 8 and 12 miles in that range. My work requires a lot of walking. I walk 3 to 5 miles at work. So when I walk 3 to 5 miles at home, that adds to it. So it's usually 8 to 10 miles is usually what I'm getting. But sometimes I get 12. So that's pretty much what I'm sticking to. I'm sticking to aerobics. It's working very well for me. I will be looking at weightlifting when I am in the winter or late fall when things start to get crap outside. I don't like sitting in a building. I don't like sitting at machines. It's just not my thing. I have machines even at my house, and I hate using them unless I absolutely have to, like raining, really freaking hot. that kind of stuff. Otherwise, I like to go out and do things. I'm definitely an outdoors person, and I hate sitting at machines. It's so boring to me. So I don't like doing it unless I absolutely have to. On top of the fact that my position at work is a kind of a first responder type position. So being sore that first couple months when you start getting introduced to all these things and your muscles are getting worked real hard is like not really good to do at work because I need to be able to do things and I can't be sore. So that's an excuse if you want to take it as that, whatever the case may be. Whole point is I'm not doing it until winter, okay? So once fall, winter comes, I will start looking into that and I'll be happy then. And we'll be looking at like classes and all that stuff. I will be probably signing up for the YMCA because they have a daycare and a child watch program for children, and I have a child, so I need her watched. So winter. Let's see. Food and tracking. My caloric intake is 950 calories, but that's not a hard 950 for me. I'm okay going above. Like I said earlier, I'm more of a macro person. I like to track my protein, my carbs, and stuff like that, and my fat. I don't really care about calories all that much. However, I will enter a little cravat and say that, yes, it's a mindfuck to go over the calories. When I see that number red going up above the 950 I set, it freaks me out, and I start like looking to cut corners and maybe like reduce the calories back down, and I have to kind of get over that. I have to push myself to get over that because it's 950 is not high, and to go up to 1,050 is not high. That's not high. I'm not going to gain weight at 1,050 when I weigh almost 200 pounds. Like, that's not how it works. So I have to kind of get over it, and I have to force myself to get over it. And I slowly getting better at getting over that number, that stupid calorie number, and focusing way more on my macros than my calories. So I will go over calories to get my macros in. So that's the way it is. Just a second. Okay, sorry, I had to take a pause there for a second. I have to get through this video because they want to come downstairs. Okay. My rules around portion size. I am 2.5 to 3.5 ounces person. I don't do cups. I don't do, I don't do that. I am a weight person. I use my scale for everything. So I find that I could possibly eat a cup of popcorn, but I can't eat 4 ounces of popcorn. So I like to use weight versus space. So yeah, I guess it doesn't necessarily matter how much space it takes, but the weight, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, you guys. 2.5 ounces to 3.5 ounces is what works for me, no matter what the thing is. Apart from liquids. Liquids is definitely easier to get down than solids, but yeah, I'm definitely big into weight, not necessarily cup sizes and stuff like that. So 2.5 to 3.5 ounces is good for me. I don't think that matters. I think it just depends on the person. I don't think there's really a big deal. Like, I don't care what. Yeah. Anyways. Okay. I do not think you can stretch out your pouch. Okay. I'm just gonna add that there. That's so silly. That you can stretch it out. So the idea of like, well, it's more than a cup, and so I'm gonna stretch out my pouches. I think that's a silly notion. So, yeah, it's not why I don't use cups. I just think that's weird that people say that. Like, they're like, oh, I want to use this because I don't want to stretch my pouch. And then I don't think you can, but okay. And doctors will say you can, so it's like, it's a weird perpetuated myth. Okay, so, my macros are as such. Carbs are set at 10%. So it's at 24 grams. This is what it is per day, and that's total carbs, not net. Although, like I said before, I don't count net against me. I mean, I don't count fiber against me, so I will subtract that from my carbs. But even with fiber, I still tend to go below 25. I don't tend to have too many issues above that. My protein is set at 40%, and that is 95 grams. Surprise, surprise, it's less than 50%, but it's still 95 grams of protein. Isn't that huge? And then my fat is at 50%, so it's 53 grams of fat. So that's what I have. I'm still working out the kinks of balancing fat and protein and things like that because I just increased my fat and decreased protein. So it's a new balance for me to get used to, and it takes time for me to get used to things. So I figure in a couple of weeks I'll have it down pretty good. And so far it's doing really well for me. Like, I'm not having any issues with it, so it's fine for me. Let's see. tracking and stuff, of course I track. I track everything pretty much. There's only very minimal things I don't track because otherwise I would go crazy if I tracked every tiny little thing I put in my mouth. Like if I grab a Teddy Graham cookie, I'm not going to track that. I'm not going to track that. But one of my little squares of chocolate, I will track because it's like 35 calories. And it's actually, I think it's like 7 carbs or something, or 0.7 carbs. I don't know. Anyways, it's a significant enough dent for me to put it in. I just don't go completely crazy. Like if I go out to eat, I generally track things, but I don't like worry about the weight because I know I can only eat 2.5 to 3.5 ounces. So I just like overestimate and put in 3.5 and we're good, like whatever that might be. And I try to keep track the best I can, but I just try to make wise choices when I go out to eat, and it's not really that big of a deal. But everything else I do track. If I don't, I do badly. I tend to, I don't know if it's because I have really bad short-term memory or if it's because of, I have a lot of apathy towards if I don't track, I have a lot of apathy. So I will like just lose track and lose control. Like I'll just completely forget about all the things I eat unconsciously or consciously. Forget the things that I eat and eat like a crazy person. So I have to track. Like it's so important to me. And I believe that when you start this, it should be important to like keep an eye on what you do eat so that you can see what works and what doesn't work, especially if you're in the fine-tuning stage of this stuff, getting to where you're comfortable, because this is supposed to be for life. This isn't supposed to be a diet temporarily. So you should be fine-tuning to make sure you're comfortable with what you're doing, because if you're not comfortable, you're not going to stick to it. You're going to cheat. You're going to go off plan. You're going to do all sorts of naughty things. So you really should be changing things as you go to make sure that you are comfortable with your situation, to make sure you're comfortable with your at. There are people who eat a ton of carbs and still lose weight because that just works well for their body. I eat, some people can't eat a lot of fat because that, it messes with their body, or dairy or thing. I eat cheese like constantly, and somebody else that might affect them very poorly. So everybody is different. So there's a lot of fine tuning, and I think that tracking helps with fine tuning what works for you and what doesn't. Because if you have a bad week, you can go back and say, okay, what did I do that week that might have affected it? And you can change things as you go and see what affects it. And I think the first year is a really good time to do that. Because then after that, you're supposed to be kind of a maintenance where you're not really as strict on yourself anymore. And you should be in that comfortable spot where you know things that work and things that don't. And you don't really need to track every little tiny thing. So yes, I am always constantly tweaking and moving things around. And it's so important for me to track. And then eventually I figure in maintenance, I won't be tracking as anally as I do right now. I still will probably always track, but I just won't have to get really picky with it. So that's what I do. Yeah, I do snack, but I track that as well. I will sometimes pre-measure out snacks, especially the naughty ones. I will pre-measure out snacks and put them in bowls in the counter. Oh, in the cabinet, sorry. I'll put them in the cabinet so that when I do want to go and grab a snack, because I am a bit of a grazer, I can go grab from the pre-measured bowl. And if I don't finish it, by the end of the night, I will measure out the bowl and see what was left and see what I ate throughout the day. And if I eat it all, that's okay, because I already pretty much anticipated that amount, and I already factored it into my calories for the day. I usually just enter it in right away, just in case, so I can pretty much like see how things are. So that's a tip and trick I do with my snacks and measuring and tracking and all those things. So let me think. There's one more thing I wanted to add, and that is that I allow a cheat day. And you can call it carb cycling. You can call it a cheat day. You can call it, I call it sanity. I just call it sanity simply and purely. There are days that I want things that I cannot technically have, or even if I did have it, like one donut would be over my carb limit. So I don't eat donuts. I'll have a bite of a donut and then throw the rest away, or take a bite of someone else's donut, or have a donut whole that's like, 7 carbs or something. But I sometimes just want a Krispy Kreme donut, like, and cheat days allow me to do that. So I am a big person for cheat days, on top of the fact that I also think carb cycling is a very valid point. I think that it is good to keep your body guessing sometimes, and to shock your body sometimes, like with, oh, here's some carbs. So I think that's a good thing. And it works for me, and I don't go crazy on my cheat days or anything like that. When I go to restaurants, I still eat protein first, but if there's a fry, I'll eat a fry. I won't order fries, but if someone's got some. And I don't like look at all the carbs and stuff when I go out to eat. I just generally pick things I'm like, okay, that's low in carbs, right? I'll just get that, and I don't look it up, and I'm not all crazy anal about it. But yeah, so I think cheat days are extremely important as part of this whole thing. It is a important rule for me to be able to treat myself once in a while. Have a small scoop of ice cream at Cold Stone Creamery, like a child size is usually what I get, in one scoop of something. And that's important to me to be able to do that, because there are alternatives definitely that I use mostly daily, but I want to be able to go have the naughty stuff once in a while too, and that's okay with me. So okay guys, so those are my rules. I am sorry this video is long, but of course it's long. I mean, that's the way it is. It's not as long as the other ones, trust me. So if you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask them down below. As always, my Fitness Pal is open for you guys to take a look at my diary and see what I eat. Like I said, I track like crazy, so you'll be able to see pretty much everything. I love you guys. Thank you so much. Drea, thank you so much. You are an inspiration, a huge inspiration for me. You will notice a lot of these things are similar to you because you are one of the first people I started watching that I really like identified with, that, you know, our weights were close to the same. Your height was different, of course, but I thought if she can fucking do it, I can fucking do it. And you were really a driving force for me, especially with this diet, this particular ketogenic thing, because it just works perfectly for me. And I saw when you talked about it how well it would work for me as well. So I appreciate everything you've done. I hope I made you blush. Thank you so much, sweets. Thank you, everybody, to all my subscribers. I'm tagging anybody who watches this. Do it. It's really informative for you to even look back at your own stuff and be like, holy cow, especially if you're like as far out as me, being like, oh yeah, that is what they wanted. Oh my God, that is what they wanted. Sometimes you forget all that stuff and you kind of just you tweak it so much that you forget all the initial stuff. So it's always good to look back, you guys, and I really highly suggest you guys do this video. So anybody who wants to, please, by all means, tag yourself and do it, okay? I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.